Snake Eye, no nothing, no Azamina, just the pure essence. Basically a couple of structure decks combined with adding the Okanix and some other hand interactions. And there is a Fuval as well right away on the normal summon of Okanix.
But I am not too sure if that is actually what you want to do versus this, because if Ulcanix activates, you're going to search out Garunix to the hand and then special summon it. And also, Dinkabui's deck is not at this point known for making too big of combo in the first turn.
This is exactly what Dinka told me at the interview on day one, that he doesn't care a lot about Fuvalos, he just wants to establish a very minimalistic field and just control his opponent with Skyburn mostly.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know whether Thomas is too familiar with what Dinka is doing. Honestly, none of us before this weekend were familiar with what Dinkabui is doing this weekend. But honestly, with the strategy that Dinkabui is going for, which we also saw on the day one feature, I think it might actually be correct to hold the Mochami Fullers for your own turn, as this is where Dinkabui then eventually starts going into the extra deck with, we just see it, the Fire King Sanctuary being able to then exceed summon on the opponent's turn, which is one of his main interactions with the opponent. But there is Ash Blossom and Joy Spring now for Fire King Island as well. Honestly, Dinkabui must be happy with this. He's trading through the cards in hand from Thomas, so this doesn't look too bad, to be honest. He has a set card. He has two set cards even here.
A very huge start. And honestly, Thomas might have been better off just ashing the Ulcanix, because this is the best starter for the deck, of course, in combination with the Ponix as well. 3 monsters on the field doesn't look like much, but this is what Dinkabui is going for. And at this point, we're seeing an Aggregator, and Aggregator is targeting the Sanctuary, which is a very, very good play, because there are no 2 level 8 monsters yet. However,
they are. Okanix, of course, changed its own level, and we do have the ability to just chain the Sanctuary, making sure that the Eternity hits the field here.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yep, now you know. Dinkabui has his own tools, and he's going to use the on-summon effect, destroying not only the X on the opponent's side of the field, but also the Ponix on his own side of the field.
Saw this being special summoned in there as well. Dinkabui still has some cards left there. Also, what is the Garunix effect if it gets destroyed?
It can bring back 2 Fire King monsters from the graveyard, Leo. It could technically even bring back itself, as far as I'm aware. Then, of course, not being able to trigger its effect, but still.
I think it's not it's up to the material that it has when it's sent to the graveyard.
Oh yeah, true. Not necessarily 2, you're right. For the moment, it would be 2, because there are 2 on it, but you are certainly correct. But Thomas, for the moment, gets going still, and Tinka was forced to use that Garunix Eternity High on the Fire Kings early on. And of course, he only got to destroy 1 monster with the X Ryzeal, therefore Thomas may actually be fine with the situation right now. This does not look too amazing, but Dinkabui has the Skyburn as well. Now going to target the Garunix Eternity and the Node. So if Thomas does not destroy the Garunix, Dinka may as well do it himself.
So now that Skyburn has destroyed the Garunix, he can also use the Garunix from the graveyard, or did it have to... Does the other Garunix, the main deck Garunix, have to be in the graveyard before the monster is destroyed?
We are going to find out. I mean, we can just summon out the Garunix through the effect of... Yeah, we can just summon it out through the effect of the other Garunix. Okay, we do summon out the Kirin here, though. Now, Ulcanix effect. Ulcanix is just going to make sure to destroy the Kirin, which is then going to trigger the Kirin in the graveyard. So, on the first look, it looked a little bit, honestly, not too obvious to just go after one of those random Ryzeal monsters on the field. But as we can see, Dinkabui will make sure here to destroy not 1, but 2 Ryzeal monsters, leaving Thomas with only 1 level 4 monster on the field.
And those aren't Zodiac monsters. You need 2 monsters to exceed summon, even if that is not too much to ask for in the Ryzeal deck. Sometimes it can become problematic to get into 2 monsters, especially if everything you do gets popped by Dinkabui.
Yeah, and honestly, equally Dinkabui, but also Thomas, have taken an approach here into the tournament, which is just going to counter the Fiend's strategies. They did not really necessarily care about Bystials and so on and so forth, and that approach in general for this tournament seems to be the way to go. When we look at our top 8 players, we do have triple tactic talents here, though.
Probably to take Arvata.
You think? I think we need some fresh cards in hand here, honestly. On the other hand, you're right. We could have gotten a level 4 with it.
It's level 4.
Yeah, but we do draw with it. There we go. We have created so many interactions there from Dinkabui. There is now a bonfire. Okay, Thomas keeps on running, keeps on going.
I would have loved the take of Arvata, because that's 1 less interaction, and yes, you're right, another level 4 monster.
Very much so. Thomas does go for Ice Ryzeal. Have we not normal summoned yet?
I think we have. You just
says
need to
special
set the
summon.
card. Yeah, and Battle Tronus is another card that is absolutely neglected by Fire King. You can't use it at all, basically. I mean, there have to be some targets, because the cards are fire, because Sword is fire and Node is fire. There will be something that has
Possibly,
some,
yeah.
attack, maybe.
What's the attack for Ravata?
1/8. So that one's out of the cards here. So we go into a level 4 now.
We did manage to get that far. Which one is it going to be, though? Because
Does he play plugin?
he does play plugin, yeah, he does. He's on a more pure version, but we
Okay.
do just go for Ryzeal Detonator. And one problem with Ryzeal Detonator, honestly, is it is destroying cards, and that's what Dinka does even to himself. He's destroying his own monsters on purpose, so he may not be too sad about Thomas helping him with that plan. One thing to consider, though, of course, though, he might destroy the Fire King Island, and that may just at some point, well-timed, take away Dinkabui's entire monster lineup on the field.
And Sanctuary is still negated from Aggregator.
True, so it can't protect even, you're right.
True, but Dinkabui needs to first activate a card to make that happen. Sanctuary is going to only be negated until the end of the turn from Aggregator, so it's going to be live just in the next turn again, where Dinka might want to activate card. Now, Avata is destroyed, but activating effects in the damage step is fine versus Detonator.
That is indeed true. So Dinka can now think the Garunix that earlier on we were not able to activate is now ready to activate, and there we go, activating the Garunix. There's so many Garunixes in this deck, right? It's hard to separate them, but this is of course the Sacred Fire King Garunix, which now is going to activate. Basically the cover monster of the structure deck, which was not released too long ago. And it is going to destroy another Garunix. There's the third one of them. This is the Fire King High Avatar Garunix.
And this is OG Fire King stuff now, because this card, when it was destroyed, it's going to return to the field in the standby phase via special summon and just dark hole the field.
And just one more set card and will be passed over to Dinkabui. And honestly, this situation probably pretty familiar to him, as he has played plenty of Ryzeal decks in this tournament. But this turn going back to him, I feel like with the Fire King decks, you kind of are scared that your opponent is going quick on you and just like running over you on the first turn that they have. But as soon as you get into that grind game, those Fire King cards, they are so recursive. We just see the Ponix going back to the hand, Garunix every single turn also coming back. It's just so repetitive and so nice. So as longer the game goes, the happier Dinkabui is. We're chaining the Detonator now to the graveyard effect of Ponix.
I think we're trying to get rid of the Sanctuary, exactly, so that we can later on take care of the Fire King Island, which is possibly a weak spot for the deck. That's how it has been looked at in the past few years.
I mean, but now Dinkabui is just on purpose trying to destroy every monster on the field anyways. So we may have to see whether that's too much of a problem for him. And now Thomas doesn't even know what he's going to target with the Detonator, because all those monsters are going to be destroyed anyways, except
I think
the
you're going
Garunix.
for the back row, huh?
Probably, yeah, I would assume so too.
And then afterwards, your Detonator might get destroyed, or you protect it, detach the Aggregator, and then you take the Fire King Island.
Possibly
Maybe.
not even the worst situation for Thomas here. And Dinkabui is really thinking about it.
It's also only the standby phase. So not a lot has happened here for Dinkabui so far. So I think might also not be the worst situation for him here, because I have seen him play before, and he actually has quite some link plays. Something like a Heater is also very strong versus Ryzeal, because there is Sword, there is Node.
And Princess, actually.
Yeah, true. Prince is also very strong.
And I want to see if he's into Salamangreat Raging Phoenix.
Look at that,
We have
though.
secret effects.
We're protecting our Fire King card there with the effect of Fire King Skyburn by banishing it from the graveyard. This is, Leo, like similar to one of your favorite cards, of course, similar to Salamangreat Balings, but this one is for Fire King cards. And we do now trigger the effect of Garunix as well. This is getting more and more. As I've been saying, this is somewhat snowballing, and we do, in the process, contrarian to other decks in the format, get pretty big attack points onto the field. We early on debated on how Ryzeal decks can struggle to close out games quickly, but Dinkabui is summoning monsters with massive attack points in the standby phase already, basically, and he has no problem closing out games easy, and Thomas sees that.
Dinkabui is just very fine with not summoning anything from the extra deck, so I have to keep this card in hand if I was to go second, which is obviously not the case in this one. Normal summon Ice Ryzeal. That's basically what you want to do every single time. Maybe you can argue for an X start being a little bit better for the Ryzeal deck, but now we start off with the Ice Ryzeal. Impermanence could be crucial here, and Axe is there as well, basically negating the impermanence already.
And if you looked into the face cam of Dinkabui, you saw him nodding his head, kind of being like, I was hoping the impermanence would just possibly stop their turn, but no, there was Axe right away.
So actually, since you don't know if your opponent is into Finsmith or not, it's very good to impermanence Ice, since they cannot access Moon and go to Finsmith place.
That's true, absolutely. What is next here on the menu for Thomas? Okay, we do see there's a second Duo Drive come in, and Duo Drive attaches Duo Drive. That's the way to go here. And Dinkabui, does he have another way to stop
Playing
Duo Drive
around.
now too? Oh, he has Ash Blossom and Joy Spring as well. Thomas just doesn't get going, really.
I like the send of, triple tactic talents in there as well. Looks at the end, there is Nibiru. He played around Nibiru previously by sending the Duo Drive to the graveyard and attaching that with Duo Drive having one material after using the effect and when you get cross. But now he just takes away the Nibiru. There is still an Effect Veiler and a Garunix. And honestly, this hand doesn't play for Dinkabui. So he needs to find an answer or anything progressive in the next turn. And now Thomas knows there's only Effect Veiler I have to play through. Oh, goes for the Ryzeal Sword. Has everything in hand. Sometimes you think, oh, I don't want to have too much engine in hand. My deck plays with one starter card. But if there are two hand traps thrown at you and you have all the engine, that's great for you.
For sure, especially when you can also back it up by triple tactic talents. Thomas now with perfect information, knowing Dinkabui doesn't have much more here.
Wait.
And it is still
Oh, he has to use
continuing.
Ice, yeah.
Yes.
He needs Ice to send Duo Drive or another card from hand and then try to go into the Detonator.
And the good thing about Detonator is it just really does not care about the Effect Veiler. Okay, we do discard the Fuvalas. Okay, we kept it in going first. So maybe an indicator for Crossout Designator indeed.
And I really like keeping the Duo Drive on the field. Oh, Abyss Dweller, of course. How do you beat fire? You use water there.
That's possibly the plan. Going over to Dinkabui, we know 2 out of 3 cards in hand. Thomas immediately in the draw phase wants to activate the Abyss Dweller. And now the question, does Dinkabui have a play that he can use?
So the thing is, if you draw into a fire monster, you can just crash it and summon the Garunix from hand, gain the attack push and run over Duo Drive and have your opponent sit there at nothing. But that requires the draw of a fire monster, so you can go for Sacred Fire King Garunix effect.
I mean, you could technically normal summon Effect Veiler, go into Almirage and send the Almirage into something else, having some ideas here, but I don't know whether that's going to be the case. I mean, Typhon could also work, right? That's also not the worst card to summon. Just for one Effect Veiler, Dinka did not use it, kept it in hand.
I feel like the Dweller didn't play around the cards that Dinka has in hand.
Yeah, I mean, he's like playing around the theoretical cards. Oh, we did draw into the Kirin, though, and there is a mild applause going through the venue because the viewers in the venues think that this might be good, and we do destroy the Garunix.
Wait, you just run over Dweller and you have still the Effect Veiler in hand. Oh no, we go into Charmer plays? I thought you just attack over Dweller and then you have the Effect Veiler for Duo Drive and hope that your opponent doesn't draw anything.
I think we go for Hita. There is Hita and there is Fire Monsters in the graveyard. We may not be able to activate effects in the graveyard, but we may as well take monsters from our opponent's graveyard. In that case, we take Sword Ryzeal, immediately linking it off for a card that was seen so much during the last year, but it is back. It is the Promethean Princess, which gets Veilered, and I think, is that a scoop from Din? No. But he does, of course, get stopped here majorly by that Effect Veiler from Thomas.
He has no card left, right?
But he does still have the Typhon option, of course.
He cannot summon Typhon.
It's negated.
Oh, it's negated, yeah. You're correct.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Well, that solves that problem. Attack. Oh, banish, That's very smart to bounce the Duo Drive immediately and then attack over Dweller because you have 400 more damage, just saying.
Honestly, how many more cards does Thomas have in hand? There is not that much left, is it? I don't think he has plenty of options remaining, so Dinkabui, 0 cards in hand, but Thomas does not have that many either, so let's see. That's a top deck that's going to be super important for him.
There is a lot of engine already used by Thomas. The deck doesn't have too many cards to play with, so I think he's basically at like 8 top decks.
Let's see, Thomas looking at his
honest,
graveyard. The Fiends with Orions are so good at having that. Oh, we do have Metaltronus for a Typhon!
There
Look
is
at
the
this!
target. There is the target.
What are we going to bring out? We're going to bring out what is going on here. I have not seen this card in a while. Number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk is being summoned.
for his own
And we do go for his own Typhon. What is happening? Typhon on Typhon. Game by game, step by step, top deck by top deck. Tinkabui's turn it is. What is he drawing though?
Oh,
he
he's
got the
Extravagance.
Extravagance. There is no way.
That is a Destiny draw. Pot of Greed has returned to the field. Is going to net him 2 cards because, frankly, he doesn't really need the extra deck too much. You can give away 6 of those cards at
He only
random.
needs a fire monster at the time.
What are we going
Just
to
needs
get?
any monster that can go into Almirage.
Oh, and he's nodding. He's nodding.
No
he
way.
has the Alchemax.
Can he
Fire
activate?
Kicks are still back. We
He's
can
just
use.
crashing.
Oh,
He's
we
crashing.
just crash it in.
So many effects now as
Oh
well.
my.
But does Typhon come in handy? How does Garunix work? Do you need to get the attack? Because if you get the attack immediately of the monster that was crashed...
he still activates.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we have to see here. We bring out the Garunix, and the other Garunix is just immediately joining, of course. And I think we do destroy and then gain the attack. So it's actually perfect against the Typhon.
All right, yeah, it gains the attack of the monster that it destroys from the deck, not the monster that was destroyed. And then
Exactly.
triggering.
Indeed,
Okay,
indeed.
right, yeah.
We destroy Kirin. Look at
so
that.
big.
We literally got the Pot of Greed for turn. The modern version of it, essentially. Pot of Extravagance. Kirin is also there to help. This is not real out here.
Volcanix pops the Garunix that was just summoned, adds Ponix. Ponix triggers immediately, gets the Skyburn set up as well. We don't even need Sanctuary into the Fire King Island. Ponix activates. Of course he's playing 3 Garunix in the extra deck if he plays Pot of Extravagance. That was so big for him here. Attacks now for a little bit of damage. Thomas is sitting there. He needs the Destiny draw now as well. Possibly a Pot of Desires and then leave with all the engine in the deck. But this is looking so strong for
That would be
Dinkabui
the
right
answer
now.
now, right? Dinkabui with the Pot of Extravagance. It would only be fair if now Thomas gets his copy of Pot of Desires on the other hand.
Yep, Thomas is waiting for his turn to start. We're still calculating the damage. Something is being discussed right here. Yep, we're discussing the damage. Yep, and now Volcanix is attacking as well. Garunix is also attacking. Yeah, of course, we have popped the Typhon with the Kirin effect from the graveyard.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
a lot of damage has been applied already. And Dinkabui, I think he searched for the Skyburn, right?
Yes,
so,
he did.
And that, that card is so good right now because it can pop multiple cards at once.
And also Princess is in the graveyard, which is very handy.
Yep. Oh, Princess is another interruption as well. You're absolutely
just
right.
doesn't stop.
Keep in mind, Garunix, does it only return on the own standby phase? Because Garunix was popped by Volcanix. That 2 cards is so incredibly good.
No, it does return on the opponent's turn as well. There it is. Garunix will come back. And Garunix eliminating all those monsters, which is hilarious. But it's certainly not hurting Dinkabui too much.
Classic
But what did
self-tackle.
Thomas draw?
And that is the
It is the
handshake!